It's free.
Well, some new information on the White House immigration plan leaked over the weekend to USA Today. It would put illegals on a path to citizenship beginning after about 8 years, but it would require them to go to the back of the line, so to say, behind legal applicants. The White House calls this a backup plan just in case Congress doesn't come up with one of its own. But Republicans like Senator Marco Rubio blast the plan, calling it half-baked and seriously flawed, and making it clear that if this winds up on Capitol Hill, it will be dead on arrival. Joining us now, Mercedes Schlapp, a former media spokeswoman for President George W. Bush, and Brent Wilkes, National Executive Director of the League of United Latin American Citizens. Nice to have you both with us today. Let's start a little bit with the politics of this, Mercedes. You've worked for a president before. With everything that's going on with Capitol Hill right now, sequestration and gun control, Benghazi, all of this, why would the White House choose to leak this now?
I got to tell you, leaks are very dangerous things. It was a very irresponsible move by the White House. We know that right now there's a very delicate negotiation between Democrats and Republicans to really get this immigration bill passed. But when you have these sort of leaks, it really complicates the relationship that the administration has with Congress. I mean, this is just something that the president keeps doing, which you have to think is, you know, from a theory standpoint, what is his political ploy? Last week, he invited the 4 Senate Democrats over to talk about the immigration reform plan. Has he invited the Republicans? No, he hasn't. So again, there's no Republican input on this leaked draft plan, and he's really putting this whole entire bill into jeopardy.
Brent, staying with the politics for a moment, some do believe what Mercedes is saying is that this leak is to, in part, take the power away from this bipartisan group of senators, take the power away from people like Senator Marco Rubio, and score political points by coming out with another plan, if you will. What's your opinion on all of this? Is this just politics at play, or is there a real policy move here?
Well, not at all. I think there is a strong policy move. I mean, if you think about the first term of the administration was roundly criticized for not coming forward with an aggressive strategy to pass comprehensive immigration reform. Both Democrats and even folks like Marco Rubio criticized him, says, where's his plan? Well, now he's drafting a plan. Yes, it's been leaked. Maybe that wasn't the best idea, but he's doing what he was told that he didn't do in the first term, and now he's getting criticized again. I don't think that's fair. I do believe that you do need bipartisan legislation to get through both houses of Congress, and there's no way that a Democrat-only bill is going to go through. But it's good that he's coming out with this as a marker.
So, Brent, in your opinion, then, is what you see here from the leak from the White House better than what we hear about the bipartisan plan that is slowly coming together and, for all intents and purposes, is on a path that looks like it could be successful?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily better from the standpoint of being able to pass Congress, but certainly there are a lot of things to like in the bill, but it addresses the main points that the bipartisan bill does, creating that pathway for the folks that are here that are undocumented to become citizens, having a plan for the future flow of immigrants into the United States, and, of course, strengthening security, which is something that Republicans have definitely wanted to see as part of the bill, and reuniting families. Those are all important points that we've long said are critical to have in this debate.
So let's go ahead and put up we have some of the bullet points, Mercedes, as well. As Brent just mentioned, border security being a part of this leak. Again, the White House says incomplete, but here's some of the parts of the plan. Allowing illegal immigrants to become legal within 8 years. They have to go through criminal background checks and all of that. They have to pay fees. They have to learn English. Again, part of the White House plan. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, again, I think it's a much more lenient version of what the bipartisan group have come up with so far. And the other point is that we've talked about very much these enforcement triggers, which are incredibly important in order for really to get this legislation passed through in both the House and the Senate. So again, I really think that you got to look at these numbers. 6 in 10 Republicans support a pathway to citizenship. However, if the President Obama is proposing the plan, that it drops to 21%. Among independents, if President Obama is proposing the plan, it drops to 9%.
So what are you saying, Mercedes? The president shouldn't have a role here at all? Because as Brent says, he's been criticized for being involved, not being involved, and
look,
both.
It's Johnny come lately. He could have done this in the first 2 years of his presidency. He didn't focus on this issue. And now what the president needs to do is he needs to root from the sidelines and let Congress take the lead. And that is the way we're going to have a successful passage towards this legislation on immigration reform.
Brent, does it matter to you where it comes from? You know, whether or not it's this bipartisan group in the Senate, the White House, you know, what are the stakes about where this policy comes from and what happens if it doesn't happen now?
Well, it has to be the bipartisan group that's going to move this forward. If we hope to have a chance to have it passed in the House, it's got to be a very strong bipartisan bill coming out of the Senate, going toward the House with a lot of momentum. I think if it doesn't happen this session of Congress, both parties are going to suffer. I don't think failure is an option in this case. If there is failure to get this passed, I think both parties are going to suffer. Nobody can claim a win out of failing to pass this comprehensive bill.
You know, on that point, as we finish up here, some say if we don't get anything done by August or so, the window will be missed because, believe it or not, 2014 an election year in the House, and then we're on a whole different cycle, as everybody knows, when elections start happening. Mercedes and Brent,
right.
Great to have your perspective today. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.